All right, so welcome tonight, ladies, or whatever time it is for you, to today's call, which is around magnetism. It's around the word magnetism. And I have a lot of things to say about this. And I'm really, really excited to share with you what I would love to share around this because it's the most powerful tools and pieces of insight that I uncovered over many years of trying to search for this that made a massive breakthrough in my life, in every element of life. And it created a ricochet of abundance and a ripple of it. And when I say the word abundance, a lot of people think I'm just meaning about money and things. It's not. It's abundance of life. It is you in the flow and the overflow of receiving everything you truly desire. To me, success is two things. One, it's being your true self. And secondly, it's living the life you would love. It's having these dreams and then being your physical reality, not just in dreamland, but actually being what you're living out. And for most of my life, prior to knowing what I'm going to share with you today, I wasn't living out my dream. I was actually living out a nightmare. I was living out the opposite of what I wanted in so many areas of my life. And I'm going to explain how it shifted from living a nightmare to living my dream. And it was really like it felt an overnight thing. It happened in a month. It wasn't just 1 month. It was obviously a collation of things, but it really was a very big shift in 1 month. And it just was when I learned alchemy. It was when I learned magnetism. It was when I learned this work that I'm going to teach you tonight that my whole life changed. It was 33 years of my life living nightmares, things I didn't want, ways I didn't want to create, and hustling and hard and just struggling and not creating anything I really wanted and stuckness and yo-yoing and getting some of it and not being fulfilled. And to then 1 month doing this deep work and then creating more fulfillment, a sense of abundance, knowing the secret of creation, the secret of alchemy, the secret of transformation, the secret of change, so that I could actually start consciously creating what I desired, living out that desired reality. And that's what magnetism is. And I want to make something really clear today before I talk about more about this, is that there's a difference between magnetism and manifestation. So what I'm going to talk to you tonight might be slightly different to where you may have heard when you've studied manifestation in the past, because to me, manifestation is I want this thing and I'm going to force it out in the world. That's what I'm going to force it. I'm going to manifest. I'm going to bring it out in the world. I can use my will to bring it out in the world. That's what sometimes manifestation can be. And the word magnetism is more of a coming to a place of desire, coming to a place of what you feel that you would really heart-led desire, but it's in alignment with the universe. The universe also desires it for you. It's the highest of you and it's the highest of all. And so as you just become an energetic match for that, as you start to embody that, you start to actually bring and draw that in. And the universe sort of just hands it to you on a silver platter in a way. So it's not using struggle and hustle and fight and hardness. And, there's a lot more ease and flow and grace. And I see one, here's the mountain. And you got to climb up this mountain and bash down the Amazon trees in the way and get what you want. Whereas magnetism, that's the manifestation I've tried before. Magnetism is you're in a little river of life and you just let go and flow down on your little floaty through the river of life, and it will just guide you along to your desires. Which one sounds nicer to you? I like the river. I don't know about you, but tell me would you rather manifestation or magnetism, ladies? Put in the chat. Which one do you want? The river, the river of life, the magnetic river. Yes. So do you want to learn about how to do that? How to have the flow, how to do the ease? Yeah. Not that brute force, brute strength, like Amazon. I mean, I know we can get it out sometimes, but that's not meant to be our mode of operatus, right? That's not meant to be our normal way. As women, we're beautiful in the feminine energy, receiving and inviting life in and magnetizing and seducing life, really, and so it's about learning this. So yeah, awesome. Okay, so I'm going to share a few things with you tonight, and I'm going to share a brief part of my story that will help you learn about what I'm going to share. And this is, I guess, my Miranda, trying to manifest and force what things out in the world mode, and then the Miranda that magnetized and started shifting and creating that flow and what happened. So for the many years before I started creating flow and started creating more ease and fulfillment and abundance on different levels, I don't know about you, and I'm sure for the women who are here in the room, you're similar to me in this, that I really wanted to create what I wanted. I really wanted to have a life I desired. I really wanted to create abundance, create fulfillment, create freedom, create, have you wanted that for a lot of your life? Have you ladies desired that? I was on this endeavor to uncover like the secret to manifesting the life I wanted, uncovering the psychology, the personal training, the health stuff. Like I sort of looked and studied and looked for everything that would help me be the person I wanted to be, do what I wanted to do, have what I wanted to have the, experiences that I wanted. Like it was on this sort of obsession from a child, that really wanted this. But it didn't seem to matter what I learned, what I uncovered, up into these 33 years of my life before I uncovered this piece. I got to about $550,000 of investing in coaches and modalities and psychology for 8 years, and well-being for 15 years. And like I was in all of these spaces looking at everything, uncovering, searching, and it didn't seem to matter. Just the more I learned, sometimes the harder things got, and the more I pushed things away, or the more I didn't figure. I thought that I actually knew less and I'm not creating what I want. And it was just frustrating. Has anyone had that experience before? Where like you're actually uncovering and trying, and it seems like the harder you try, it's like a hamster wheel. The faster you go, it's like the worse it actually gets. Yeah? You're actually having more problems to fix, more things that you're trying to uncover. For the ladies that are just coming on, if any of you can have your video on, would love to see you. If you can, that would be awesome. And it's really frustrating and exhausting and depleting when you are trying everything in your physical strength and you're uncovering everything and you're learning everything and you're investing your hard-earned money and nothing is changing. It's exhausting to the point that you end up getting this sense of hopelessness and you want to give up. That was so often where I was, because I'd either be stuck or I'd start getting some progress, but it was that one step forward, two steps back feeling of yo-yoing where I'm like just in this rocking chair getting nowhere, And it was incredibly frustrating and depressing even at times. I wanted to give up so often because it felt like it didn't matter what I knew, what I tried. It wasn't working for me. And it may have been seemed to work for some other people, but it wasn't for me, And because I want you to understand, so much of my orientation in this mode was actually what I'm going to call my false self. I was coming from my false self. I didn't know it at the time, but I was operating from these false beliefs, false identities. I had all of these opinions about myself, and I was actually in the being state. If I look at my energy, looking back, I was in this being state of a have not, of unworthiness, of insecurity, of I'm not enough, or I'm not capable, or I'm powerless, or I can't trust myself and others. Whatever is under there for you, if you are predominantly in that being state and you're coming from that point and you're then trying to fix problems from that point of view, you're coming from your false self, you're trying to fix problems from that point, you actually just create more problems because your whole focus is on this person who you're actually not. I thought I was unworthy, believed I was unworthy, then try to do all this stuff to prove I'm worthy, but it's coming from the energy of unworthiness. So what is it going to create? Is it going to create worthiness or unworthiness? If I'm focusing on that, what's it going to create, right? It just proved to me more options of how unworthy I am, more ways of how powerless I am, because I was coming from that mode. I didn't even know at the time. But my being state was in that place. So we have a part of us that's our false self. And what I would try and do is I'd go, I'm unworthy or I'm not enough. So I need to go get this coach because they're worthy. They've got money or they've got whatever. They've got the answers. I got to get them. And then they're going to tell me the answers that are going to give me money in a business that will make me worthy, right? I'm outsourcing my power to them. I don't believe I'm powerful. I don't actually trust any of my intuition, my nudges. I just do all this random stuff they tell me to do, which is this scattergun approach often, or it's not aligned to me. And when I do it, it actually ends up ricocheting. It ends up creating more problems. It ends up draining my business. The first time I did that, I had just gone through this really big breakup with my husband. I was 6 months pregnant, broke up with my husband very suddenly. And I was facing a breakup of someone I loved for 10 years, learning how to be a single mum before I was even a mum. And I was trying to start my business when my son was a few weeks old as well, because I needed to start my business. I needed money as well. And I wanted to start it to get and focusing on something. Now, that was the position I was in. And I had so much growth and transformation in that journey. And I had so much power within myself that I learned how to become resilient. I learned how to build my self worth outside of my external reality, right? Now, I had this desire to help women go through and up level their self worth, to get more resilient. Like, this is what I wanted to do. This is what my soul wanted. But I couldn't seem to figure it out, couldn't seem to work it out. So I got this coach to come in and tell me what to do, how to make money, how to, she tells me, you've got to go do weight loss because no one's going to buy resilient stuff with you. No one buys self worth. The only thing you've done is you've changed your health. So you've got to talk about that. Now, I don't know about you, but for me, going through all of that I've been through, my health and weight was really not much of a concern to me versus what I just overcome in my life. Do you understand? I didn't actually care about that. My intuition was like, no, 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 do the resilience. She's like, no, don't. So I listened to her. I do what she says. I think she's worthy. She's powerful. Like, I'll go follow what she says. Guess what happens? For that nearly year, I try to do what she says. My business goes nowhere. I can't really break through because I don't think I'm powerful. I don't think I'm really that worthy. And I'm outsourcing all that to her and I'm operating. Of course, I'm not going to create business change in that, right? So that's one time. And then a few, 2 years later or something, I do the same thing again. I get another coach who I'm like, oh, I start making some money, start breaking through a little bit. But then I go get this other coach who I think, oh, they've got this power, they're worthy, they know their strategy. They've got all the strategies, they got all the hows, they got everything there. Like, let's go do that. So, and they tell me, no, you can't do this energy work that you like to do. You can't talk about psychology. No one's going to buy any of that. You got to teach strategy, you got to teach action, whatever, because that's their background. My whole background was psychology and energy, and I didn't know much about this other world, right? And he's like, no, you got to do this. So I start doing what he says. For 4 months of my business, I make $0. The worst time in the 4 years I've been in my business is by following what this person's telling me to do and by doing all the actions and the steps. I feel it's manipulative. I don't believe in what I'm doing. It's not aligned to me. Like, it just completely kills my business, right? Even though that's meant to be the thing to the 100K and the 10K months and the blah, blah, blahs, right? I outsourced my power, didn't think I was worthy, thought they were, was coming from this false self, wasn't aligned to me. And I was trying to focus on actions and strategies on this whole outside world and try and change the inside from the outside versus what I actually needed to do was change my inside to change the outside, right? So I'm this whole 33 years, these are just some examples from a business perspective. I'm operating from a false self. I'm operating from these beliefs that aren't even true, that like I'm unworthy or I'm not powerful, I'm incapable, or whatever yours version is. And I'm expecting that I'm going to create a different result. I'm expecting I'm going to create a different life. No, if your being state is this, that's what you're going to be creating, right? These nightmares, these problems, these false elements. Then this 1 month, I started to learn about this super conscious work. I started to learn about something I call alchemy. I started to learn about deeper energy work. And in this 1 month, I actually uncover I have a true self. And my true self is, if I go up in my timeline, I'm going to give you guys experience of this later, but and I go back to before I was born, before my false self came about, before all this BS was created, before my beliefs started forming, whatever. I go back to before then and I connect to my godlike self, my creator self, my part that's connected to the universe, the part that has this DNA of gold dust and stardust in me, because we actually have made of that. I go back and I connect to that. That's my true self. That's my powerful being that I really am. That's me, who's powerful, who's confident, who's certain, who's connected to all time and space and connected to everyone and everything and has all this knowing and all this power and wisdom. And that's me. That's my intuition. That's my genius. That's my God self, right? In this 1 month, what I did is I connected to that God self me more often than I connected to my false self. I started going and up there and imagining myself in power, in who I truly was, in my brilliance. And I started connecting less to my memories of the past, less to my identities, less to my beliefs. And in that 1 month of just pivoting my energy, oh shit, I'm stuck in my beliefs. I think I'm unworthy. No, 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 this is who I really am. Connect back and move from there. Oh shit, I got triggered. I got no money in my bank account. I'm an unworthy piece of crap. Yep, go back, trigger, go back into where I really am, my true self. In that 1 month when I did that, I made $20,000 in that month. Now, that wasn't the only thing I did. I didn't just meditate, and I actually took actions. But when you take action from your true self, it's a very different energy and result than if you take it from your false self. So I still did sales calls. I still offered things out in the world and whatever, but it was coming from a place of power and truth and love. It wasn't coming from this insecurity and this falseness and this manipulation and all the other things I was doing to try and prove worth, right? When I did that, I made $20,000. A few months later, I went on this embodiment retreat. I'm nearly finished with this story. I'm going to unpack it for you later. But went on this embodiment retreat the whole time. We didn't talk about business. We didn't talk about strategy. We didn't talk about action, nothing. We just did emotional embodiment tools to get into the frequency and energy of my true self and to like release more energy out of my false self and these beliefs and all this stuff I wasn't actually real, and put it more into my true self and embed in power in who I really am. The whole week was that. That was it. And at the end of that week, 2 days later, I get this download of this program that I'm meant to release, this alchemy program. It's my pride and joy, and it's made me over $1 million now since this thing. A month later, I'm making $100,000 launch after this embodiment work I've done. Not trying to do all these actions, whatever. There were some actions I took, but barely any. But the point I'm trying to say was I put less energy in my false self, put more energy in my true self. What happens? Abundance follows of ideas, of inspiration. The universe gives me some ideas and wants to bring this thing out in the world, and it works with me to magnetize it. I don't have to actually do much. I think I took 4 steps of actions to actually have a 100K launch and have 10 women join my program. It wasn't about forcing it out in the world. It was when I was aligned to my true self, it just magnetized to me. And the last thing I'll say with that is that, you know, in what I did, and I'll talk about this more later, is like I started doing this archetypal sort of energetic, embodying this goddess energy within me, which I'll talk about and explain a bit more later on what that is. But because I was embodying this energy of an empress, or embodying the energy of a seductress, or embodying the energy of this like high oracle energy, this intuitive, because I was doing that, it started to vibrate in my being, in my cells. I started to get the energetic feelings of these things. And I started to create these powerful results in my life, started to get these nudges and intuition and downloads, and then I would act on them really powerfully, and they would work. I'd take one action and bang, it would open up a whole world of opportunity. So tell me what you're taking away. I'm going to unpack this. I'm going to give you actions, and I'm just trying to give you the story first. What are you taking away from my story of me trying to force and manifest in the world? And then when I started to learn how to magnetize, put it in the chat or unmute. What are you taking away? What's landing for you? Put it in the chat or unmute. To be our true self, yes. To be true to yourself. That's very, very key. And to be our true self. Embodiment is the way, as well as action and being our true selves. Yeah, and this is the thing. When we are in the energy of, let's say, if I'm in my false self and I'm feeling unworthy and I'm feeling insecure, there's 2 things. One is the insecurity and that unworthiness is going to start attracting experiences to me that are going to bring more of that up in me, because that's where I'm vibrating at. So firstly, the energetic will magnetize that energetic in that experience in. So I'll start creating what I don't want just from an energetic point of view. But also from an action point of view, if you think about when you're feeling unworthy and insecure, what does that emotion tell you to do? Does it tell you to go out and share the world and market yourself and put yourself out? And no, it tells you to hide. It tells you to run away. It tells you to stop. Whatever. That ends up creating more of the same result. So yeah, embodiment is key, not just from an energetic thing, but because the action it also leads to is also a part of that, for sure. In what you are vibrating, you create. Yes, that's so true, hun. Much of our life and actions come from limiting beliefs in the false self. We need to tap into our true self. Yeah. If you look at your life and we really were to look, and I look back particularly, but even now, how much of it is us coming from our true self and how much is it coming from our false self, And when we come from that false self, we're just trying to fix and we're trying to placate and we're trying to meet all these conditions. And it's actually just a waste of energy. It's not, supporting us. I need to understand embodiment tools more and find out my archetype. Yeah. So I'll talk about that more, hun, later. But we actually are not just one archetype, we're all. And one of the issues as to why we're not creating is because we're maybe operating out of one, and we're not operating out of multifacets. That's actually a part of it. So you're not just one. You've been manifesting too much. Yeah. A lot of people do, and they use that will and force, and and there's a way to do it with much more ease and flow. What you said about not feeling worthy resonated. Something happened where I gave away my power, and there's a strong reminder to get back to myself. Yeah, beautiful, hun. Want more simple, quick Empress Goddess embodiment tools? Well, you've come to the right place. Awesome. I'll share some more with you. Manifestation can mean using force to create what we want. Magnetism means vibrationally drawing it toward us. Yes, awesome. Beautiful learnings, ladies. Okay, so I'm going to take us through a little piece around the false self now, the true self, and then, what to do to embody more of the true self and what to do next, right? That's what we're going to look at. So before I do that, I do want to share this about what we're talking about here about your true nature and why do I think it's so important. I want to ask you a couple of questions. The first question is, why do you think we're here on this planet? What do you think the purpose of life is, or what we're here for? You can put it in the chat too if you want. Write children's books about being good enough and then don't take it in for me. Yeah. So often that's the case. We can coach and we can, but we don't necessarily take it in. Joy. Yeah. You think we're here for joy? People put in the chat, why are we here? What's the purpose of life? I know I'm getting you to do quite big thinking right now in the big scheme of things. Contribution, impact, create, experience. Yes, beautiful. To learn, navigate life and create our heart's desires. Amazing. To learn something, learn, teach, be. Awesome. I believe, we're here to be our creator self and to express ourselves as creators. Because I believe our true essence and what our true nature is our creator self. It's the God self that wants to come here and create and express and be our own unique expression. And every desire we have is just an expression of us and a desire to create and be something, in this world. Human potential. Yeah. So you've got, expand, learning. Yeah. You girls have parts of this. And if you think about what you want, if I want to create this in business, or I want to create this experience in my adventures or my kids or my family, love, whatever, it's all just different expressions of my true nature coming out in form, my heart being out in this world and actually being in a physical form in the world. That's what so much of it is about. That's at the core of what it's about. And you then go, okay, well, how do we create our heart's desire? How do we be our true self? Whatever. Your true self, your true nature is your highest vibrational frequency that you can be on this planet. So if you want to manifest and magnetize anything that you desire to yourself, you need to become more of your true self, because that is your unique signature on this planet. That is your highest light frequency. And if you're putting on any cloaks, or you're putting on your false self, or you're just you're sitting in your shit and, you know, you're not being your true, and you're putting on this protection and image, and you're actually just cloaking and putting darkness like over your true light. And so you're not able to magnetize what's for you. You actually are inherently connected to things in your life, to your heart's desires, to the business, to this program alchemy that I work with and I have, and the clients who come to me through it. I believe I'm inherently connected to it. I believe the universe was meant to give it to me, and then the clients who are meant to come to me are meant to come to me, and I've got a connection with them. So I don't actually have to try really hard to get clients and to find them and force them or prove to them they've got to work with me. I just have to let my light out in the world, and bang, they'll start to magnetize. I literally was in Egypt 2 years ago, doing nothing in my business, not telling anyone alchemy was beginning again, not marketing. I wasn't offline. I was offline, just sitting there in Egypt, going to my retreat, going to the temples, sitting there and enjoying it, being in my rituals, like enjoying my feminine essence there, doing energy work in myself. All these people start messaging me like, can I join your program in alchemy? Like, when's it starting next? I haven't told anyone. Then I get home, I do one training, I run one masterclass, and bang, the whole thing's full in this first week of coming back from Egypt. You know, normally takes 8 weeks or something to do. How? Because I'm being my true nature. I'm just living life and following what I'm called, and I'm in this high expression, and it just magnetizes people to me. I was just in Bali recently. Haven't been online much lately. You know, all these people messaging me like, can I come work with you? Or, you know, I'm not having to force and put it out. I'm doing what's required, but I'm being in my true self. And so it magnetizes people, clients, love, health, vitality, things. Right? So this is what we're looking at. How can you be in your true natures? And how can you then in that magnetize what is for you? We've got a few things. Oh yeah, that's all just saying what you feel you're here. Yeah, amazing. Yeah, love that. And even those things that you're saying that are specific, they're all expressions of your true nature, of your true self. Okay, so who's ready to start learning how to magnetize more and to be in your true self? Yeah, few. Okay, awesome. All right. So the first step is you need to bring awareness to your false self, because that's where a lot of your power is leaking. So if we're looking at the first step, it's bringing conscious awareness and consciousness to your false self. Now, as I said, you know, if you have all these beliefs and all these stories and all this stuff running, but you have the light turned off and you're not actually consciously seeing it, then this has a lot of power. These things are taking and leaking a lot of your power, and you're actually going about life trying to solve all these problems in this false self, right? And it's taking up a lot of your energy, a lot of your time. And most of the things you're doing is just to solve an illusion. It's this mist. It's an illusion. It's like in the desert when you have the mirage. You're just focusing on this mirage and trying to fix this mirage. It's not even flipping there, you know? But if you're not conscious of it, this is where a lot of your energy is going. This is where a lot of your power is going. This is where most of your time is going. Right? So the first thing is we need to become aware of it. Now, I'm going to share with you a tool that will start to help you become more aware of your false self. Okay. So I want you to recently think about a time you've been triggered, a time that you've been upset by something, a time that something's happened to you that triggered you. Just think of something recent. Doesn't really matter what it is, because you're going to say the same story no matter what it is anyway. You're going to have the same false self story stuff. So when you have got that, I want you to just write really briefly, what are a couple of the thoughts that you had about this problem? So for instance, I'll say, what will I say? I had someone who's going to support me in my retreat say that they may not be able to, the other day, say they may not be able to come and support. There's family issues happening and they might not be able to come. So the thoughts were, shit, what am I going to do? I'm stuffed. There's not much time. Why is it hard? I thought it was meant to be easy. How am I going to teach easy and flow when I'm like, it's not easy and flow right now. This is happening. Like just a couple of thoughts come about, right? Start just saying a couple of things. Just write down a couple of thoughts. You don't need to write a lot, but just whatever the thoughts are that come about this experience, just write a couple down. You don't have to put it in the chat. You can just keep it for yourself. And then I want you to have a look at, what did you start making that mean about you? I am what? Just a couple of labels. And when you do it, just tune in. What was the core label? What's the main label that you gave yourself because of this situation? I'm a loser. I'm a failure. I'm not enough. I'm not worthy. I'm powerless. I'm fraud, whatever it is. Tune in and write that down for you. I'm a joke. And then write down the label you gave others. What's the label you gave others? Others are what? Others are unreliable. Others are powerless. Others are weak. Others are favored. Others are better than me. Whatever. Others are what? And again, you don't have to do too many. Just the core ones here are important. And the last one I want you to look at is, the world is what? Life is what? God is what? Put these under the same category. You can call it the world, life, or God, whatever you want to do. The world's cruel. The world's sadistic. The world's unsafe. Whatever. Just put in what you'd say, define that as from this experience you had. So because of all this beliefs and all these things, these beliefs about you being this, others being that, world being that, what do you then do to try and cope with it or to resolve it? How do you try to fix this? What action do you feel like led to do as a result of this? Put that in there too. What action do you do to cope or to fix this? Or what inaction? You may do nothing, you may give up. Or you might try and fight people, or you might try and prove to everyone you're right and they're wrong, or whatever it is. Like what do you do to cope? What do you do to fix it? This one's a real biggie. If you want to know how to get this, look at the emotion you feel or you felt in this moment. Was it depressed or sad or hopeless, or like in this trigger, angry? Look at the emotion you felt, the core emotion. Write that there. And then just say, what did that emotion tell you to do? Because emotions tell you to do things. They tell you to make decisions. When you're hopeless, you often want to give up. When you're angry, you want to maybe punch someone in the face, like, or yell at someone, take it out on someone, blame them, whatever, or run away from people. Everyone does different things. So what was the core emotion? What was it telling you to do? So when you ask yourself these questions, what's the key thoughts? What's the labels I'm giving myself? What's the labels I'm putting for others? What's the labels I'm putting for the world? What am I then trying to do to fix this and cope with all of this? What's the emotion arising? What am I doing with that? When you look at this, you're understanding, you're tuning consciousness on, you're putting awareness on to this is a story of your past. These are your old beliefs. These are your memories. These are your definitions from your childhood. Like, this is your false self. And this is your false self telling you to go on a wild goose chase to go fix all of these false beliefs and these false things. And you just get in a vortex of wasting time, energy, trying to fix something that actually ends up aggravating and creating more of the same problem. Are you seeing this from this trigger? I was speaking to someone today and they feel invisible is a story of theirs, and that's a definition of theirs. And then the invisibility tells them that, others don't care about them, no one's interested, they're invisible, no one sees them. And what's the invisible tell them to do? It tells them to hide. It doesn't tell them to go, they want connection, they want love, but the invisibility tells them to back off and F people and run away. So it makes them invisible, which proves that they're invisible. It proves their belief and then makes more of it, right? It's crazy. But this is what happens when we're operating in the false self. We just end up aggravating and making more and more problems and making more and more of what we don't want. But until you turn the light on to that, until you firstly see that, you can't move forward because the energy is just going here and you're in this automated, robotic, hypnotic place where you're just living this whole thing out. So I felt I was unworthy. I thought other coaches and these other people were worthy. They had businesses and money. So, and the world's really cruel and it favors them and it hates me. So I went to try and get help from them to cope. I went to learn everything and I went to do everything they said. But all it ended up proving was they worthy, I'm unworthy, they get it, I don't. The world's shit and they're cruel and favor people and not me. I just created the same beliefs. And I had reality and creations that just showed and proved my false beliefs, right? Until I turned the light on, until I saw this is the first step, saw this. When I saw it, the first thing is like awareness then means you can't then keep creating it, right? So the first step's awareness. The second step is the next thing though. The second step is you need to then put your energy that you free up from here into your true self. You need to stop being preoccupied, stop being focused, stop feeding the victim story, feeding this identity, feeding all your BS. You need to stop feeding the black wolf, as that mythology, thing says, to make that bigger and stronger. And you actually need to start feeding your true self, start feeding the true you. And I'm going to take you through a bit of an embodiment experience of this so that you can start to see it. Okay. So I want you to take some deep breaths. Sit where you're sitting, close your eyes. And I want you to notice yourself sitting in this stuff, sitting in the things that you've just seen, sitting in that trigger that you just have had recently, and all of your stuff that's surfaced. I want you to just breathe all of it out. And I want you to raise up in the sky. Imagine your being rising up beyond the seat that you're in, going up into the sky, up into the ether, up into the cosmos, up amongst the stars, floating up there amongst the galaxies. And I want you to notice that there's this timeline up here. There's the past, there's the future. And I want you to go down along your past, down along your teenagehood, your childhood, even to the day that you were born. And I want you to even go further beyond that point. When you were your true life force being, this energetic frequency, your superconscious self, your godlike self, where you were a star. And I want you to see yourself just radiating as a star, just this golden light that's just shining, blazing of energy, blazing of potential, of power. You're feeling that connection to all time and space, to all things, that wisdom, that all knowingness. Sense in every cell of your being as you breathe in deeply that power of the star that you actually are, of the true self that you are. Turn it up even more to feel within the cells of your being, feeling in that vibrate in an even higher level. And I want you to take that energy of who you truly are, the true you, and I want you to go down along your timeline and go down to a point even in the future that you haven't had yet. Float down into the future where you have created what you desire to create. You're being the woman, the person, the being that you desire, that true self. You're acting in the way that you desire. You've gotten experiences in the business and abundance and health and vitality and love and connection, adventure, all of it, freedom. You are experiencing and having all of it. I want you to just soak that in, luxuriate that in. Notice it, what it feels like in your being to have that. And then look back from this place at where you used to be sitting on that chair in the Magnetism Masterclass. From this place in the future, from this full embodiment of this powerful being who's created this, look back at where you used to be, that old you, and ask yourself, what is that next step you took, either energetically? What was the energetic shift? What was the being shift? Or what was the action that you took? The very next thing you did after that magnetism class, the very next energetic shift you made, what was it that led you to this place? That next obvious thing, the next step, what was it? And as soon as you receive something, just write it down. Could be an energetic thing, it could be a being shift, it could be an action. Write it down. And once you've written that, I would love you to put in the chat or unmute. How was that whole experience for you to go from where you just were in that false self to connect to the true self and then just to move, embody the true self and move, get an idea from the true self, move with that? How was that experience? Put it in the chat or unmute. Tell me. What was it like for you? I felt release and free on the future true self. Yeah, it's a very different feeling, isn't it? If you really sense into the vibration of it. Yeah, it's beautiful. And again, if you have a look at while people are writing, like if you're stepping into that energy of free and release and just power, It's like, what does that tell you to do? What's that next step it tells you? It's completely different to what we were getting before. It's a whole new vibration. Oh, awesome. No worries, Michelle. Thank you. They can get the replay too. It will be sent tomorrow if they can't make it. That's all good. I wonder if you have a pattern of helping others and not connecting to your full thing. I don't know. Maybe, or maybe you just thought that would help. I was told to go forward and release my vision, stop caring what others think. Yeah, amazing, huh? It's great. Good enough to be seen. It's very helpful. So much release and emotions that need to come out. Yeah, and it's just a cellular piece, right? And what you did, and it was a very brief meditation that I showed you, but the more you can connect to your true self and cellularly vibrate as that being, then firstly, you're going to start magnetizing more from the place of love. And you're going to vibrate from love. You're going to vibrate from bliss. You're going to vibrate from like freedom and fulfillment. So you're going to start magnetizing more opportunities and experiences of that because you're vibrating at that level. And also, what does freedom and bliss tell you to do? Right? It's a very different action it will tell you to do than when you're in shame and unworthiness and insecurity and anger and, do you see what I'm saying here? It's not just the energetic, the action then, and it's flow and it's ease. I'm in shame and like, I'm trying to force myself to get out of hiding and put myself out there and show the world. It's coming from a very different frequency and vibration. It's going to create a very different result to if I'm in bliss and I'm in ecstasy of fulfillment and acceptance of who I am, and I come from that liberated space. You can feel the difference, can't you? I felt totally liberated and light. I also felt compassion and realized I have to slow down and do less. Yeah, so good, hun. So I took you through a very brief meditation. Now, there is actually even deeper embodiment tools, deeper archetypal, as I said, rituals that access this sort of godlike self, the goddess self. And when you do it from like, firstly, also a meditation space, which is more consciousness, but then from a cellular body embodiment, movement, archetypal space, where you actually connect to the energy of the empress, or you actually connect to the energy of that high priestess and that oracle, or whatever it is, right, that's going to lead you to create what you want. When you do movement and physically embody it, it amplifies the energy even more because you want to have your consciousness and your emotional body in alignment and both sending the signal of what you want. And that's when the energetic of magnetism is activated. That's when the key of life is activated. That's when you'll start taking actions in alignment and you'll create flow, because flow comes from alignment where your heart, your soul, your consciousness, your emotional body, your energetic body, your actions, your strategies, your business, everything's in alignment. Flow comes from that. If you are not in alignment, if things are off, you won't create flow. And there are deeper, as I said, archetypal embodiment rituals that I teach that activate it on a whole nother level. And I wanted to mention this to you today. I've mentioned it briefly a few weeks ago, but very briefly to a secret group. So I'm super excited to talk to you ladies about this today. But I actually am releasing a membership called Magnetism in this next month. It starts on the 10th of the 10th, the 10th of October. And it's going to be a monthly membership that is going to unlock your powers of magnetism like never before. It's going to unlock your true self, your higher self, that godlike self, that goddess within you. It's a monthly membership, so you can stay and join and be in as long as you like. But over the year, I'm going to go into different archetypes of the goddesses, of the powerful you and the truest self. And you're going to unlock and unleash that energetic. And as you do that, as you come that higher frequency, abundance in your life is going to unleash and unlock as a result of that. And we're going to do it not through just like, I'll do some teaching, but we're going to also do it through a meditation. And then we're going to go also through embodiment practices, archetypal rituals that are going to unlock that from you at a cellular sort of energetic level. And then around the month, there's one session a month. You're going to have then practices or books to have a look at, or like whatever it is to embody that deeper and deeper, and a group to support you in that before we look at the next month. And when I did this sort of work, it was 4 years ago, I started doing this deeper archetypal work, and every month I had a different archetype and I embodied it. That is where I started getting downloads and receiving creative ideas and having abundance created. And as I said, that time around Egypt, and it's when abundance just started coming to me like no tomorrow from very simple tools that I'll be following. So I'm super pumped and excited that you're really the first group that I'm going to tell this to and talk to you about it. If anyone is interested, I'd love you to put in the chat if you're interested in knowing about magnetism. If you want info on magnetism, can you just put a yes in the chat about my membership? So just so you know, right now it's going to be 222 a month Australian. So it's the smallest way to work with me and the smallest way to invest with me, but it's going to be incredibly powerful. It's like in my cells, like I can feel how powerful it is of just what you're going to be learning and embodying. This took me a long time to learn. It took me many mentors to uncover this. And it's just, I wanted to make something that's more accessible for people, that someone can do in an easier way, that I can reach out and work with you. Because the way that people work with me in my retreats, that's a way you can work with me right now. And also in my Alchemy Mastermind, which is my 6-month mastermind, they're incredible experiences, but they're also higher investments, you know? And so not everyone can do that right now. Magnetism is going to be super simple. And if you do explore it, I'm going to put a link here. If you explore that and you want to do it in the next 48 hours, you actually get the first month free. So you'll get access into the membership with the first month free if you do it in the next 48 hours. So I'm going to put the link in here so that you can start to uncover more about that and see if that feels called and true for you. If you have questions with it or anything like that, you know, you can send me a message, but on my Facebook or Instagram. But that's where the info will be, and the free 1 month will be. Just so you know too, there is going to be a VIP level option where you get the once a month training, but you also get a Q&A with me once a month as well. And you get intuitive reading. You get to do a super conscious reading with my intuitive coach in that, as well as a group reading. So there's an option for that too. And that will be in the link and that will explain it. I don't want to talk too much more about it, but I am just really pumped because it's just something I haven't offered for you ladies before. And I think there's going to be a lot of people who it's going to really benefit, and it's going to be really beautiful. And the awesome thing about it that I love is this is very powerful work in and of itself, of the energetic that's going to come through from this. Your life and what you're going to manifest, magnetize like from it is going to be very different. But the biggest thing I'm really excited about is the community of women we're going to start to form, and the connection, because I can tell you that this archetypal work, this energetic work has shifted me like no tomorrow, but also has a circle of women who have backed me and been there for me when shit's gotten hard and it's been tough. And to have people in your corner who are at your vibration, who want to champion you for creating amazing things, like there is nothing greater than that, you know? And so for my desire for this is to have a community of women, a group of women that we're really championing each other, and we're seeing the goddess in each other. We're seeing that God self in each other, and we're calling out ourselves to that, you know? So that's what I wanted to share to you ladies tonight. If you wanted to drop in deeper, if tonight's been enough, then I love that. But if you want to drop in deeper and you want to do this work consistently with me, but also at a really easy level where I think it's just like, I don't know, I worked it out, $7 a day. I get a chai for $7 most days. So you stop getting your chais and bang, do the membership. But does anyone have any questions about that or anything that I talked about tonight? Anyone have anything they want to ask? Anything they want to know? If people do also sign up in the next 48 hours, there's going to be another free training offered to you. And if they do the VIP level, there's a bundle of a couple of trainings that you're going to get in that as a bonus as well. Even though we start on the 10th of the 10th, there'll be more. Does anyone have any questions? You're great value tonight. Oh, thanks, hun. Appreciate that. Amazing, amazing. I will just say as well, Michelle and Sarah, are you able to like send me a message on Facebook or something if you can, or put your surname here, because otherwise I won't be able to reach out and see if you have any other questions because I don't have your surname. Just so if you want to do that. Amazing. Awesome. Amazing. Amazing. I would be, oh, look, there you go. Perfect. I'd be super excited to take any of you on this journey. I really, really yeah, would love to do it with you because you are goddesses, you know, you really, really are. And you deserve to magnetize everything you want in your life and more. Everything is in your heart is for the taking for you. So I'd love to support you in that. Otherwise, keep coming to my free things and whatever else you can get to. But I really hope I get to journey with this with you as well. All right, my loves. I don't think anyone has any questions. So great to see you. Yeah, hopefully I get to see you in magnetism. But if you have any questions, send me a message. Let me know. All right. Ciao, ciao. Bye.